It was the third time that month the front gates of the Turner mansion opened for a new nanny. The huge black iron doors creaked as the car rolled in, carrying yet another woman who thought she could handle the unhandleable, the Turner twins. The millionaire, Richard Turner, stood by the grand window of his study, staring out with a look of quiet frustration. His wealth could buy him anything he wanted, except peace in his own home. The mansion was spotless, elegant, and silent, except when Ella and Emma, the 5-year-old twin daughters of Richard, decided to unleash chaos. Since their mother's passing 2 years ago, the girls had become uncontrollable. Every nanny that came through the door left within days, some crying, some yelling, some vowing never to work with children again. Toys were thrown, paint spilled, food fights erupted, and endless pranks made life unbearable for anyone who tried to bring order. "Mr. Turner," said his assistant softly that morning, "the new nanny is here. Should I let her in?" Richard sighed, rubbing his temples. "Let her in. But I doubt she'll last till Friday." The front doors opened, and in stepped a woman who looked different. She wasn't fancy like the others who came with polished shoes and strict smiles. She wore a simple dress, her hair tied back neatly, and carried a calm expression that almost felt out of place in such a luxurious home. Her name was Clara Bennett. Richard looked her over skeptically. "You've read the contract?" "Yes, sir," she said gently. "And I understand it's a difficult position." He raised an eyebrow. "Difficult is an understatement. My twins don't like strangers." Clara smiled slightly. "Then I suppose I won't be a stranger for long." When she entered the playroom, she was met with 2 pairs of mischievous brown eyes and a wall of noise. Paint cans were open, toys scattered, and a teddy bear was hanging from the ceiling fan by its paw. The twins froze when they saw her, just for a moment, before whispering something to each other and giggling. "Another one," said Emma with a smirk. "How long will you last?" added Ella. Clara didn't answer. She just knelt down, picked up a toy, and started to put it back without a word. "Hey! You can't touch that!" Emma shouted. Clara looked at her, calm as ever. "Then you better help me. It looks like your teddy's been in a terrible storm." The girls exchanged confused glances. Most nannies shouted. This one didn't. Most got angry. This one didn't even flinch. They tried harder, spilled juice, threw paint, hit her phone. But no matter what they did, Clara never lost her calm. When the girls poured water on the floor, she simply mopped it up and said, "Accidents happen. Let's fix it together." When they screamed, she sang softly until they grew quiet, almost hypnotized. By the 3rd day, the twins weren't laughing at her anymore. They were watching her. By the 5th day, they followed her around curiously. And by the end of the week, something no one believed would happen, they were sitting quietly beside her, listening to a bedtime story. Richard couldn't believe it. He peeked from the doorway one night, expecting to see the usual chaos, but instead found his daughters fast asleep, their little hands holding Clara's. Her voice was soft, telling them about stars and angels. Richard felt something he hadn't felt in years, peace. The next morning, he invited Clara for breakfast. "I have to ask," he said, setting down his coffee. "How did you do it? No one has ever managed to calm them." Clara smiled faintly. "Children don't need control, Mr. Turner. They need connection. They're not bad, they're broken. And broken things don't heal with rules. They heal with love." Her words hit him like a wave. For the first time, Richard realized he hadn't just lost his wife. His daughters had lost their mother. They were grieving too, in their own small, loud, chaotic way. Days turned into weeks. The mansion began to sound less like an echoing museum and more like a home again. Laughter returned, real laughter. Clara baked cookies with the girls, helped them draw rainbows, and taught them small acts of kindness. She didn't replace their mother, but she became something new, a bridge between their pain and healing. One afternoon, Richard came home early and heard giggles from the backyard. There they were, Clara and the twins, covered in flour, trying to make a picnic. The twins waved when they saw him. "Daddy, look. Clara says we can make cupcakes without a recipe." Richard chuckled. "Is that so?" Clara smiled, her cheeks dusted with sugar. Sometimes the best things don't follow rules, Mr. Turner. That night, after the girls went to bed, Richard stood by the living room window, deep in thought. Something about Clara's presence stirred old feelings, comfort, hope, even admiration. But he reminded himself she was an employee. Just an employee. Still, when she passed by to say good night, their eyes met for a brief second, and both looked away, heartbeats louder than words. Weeks turned into months. The twins began school again, their teachers noticing how much calmer and happier they'd become. Whatever you're doing, one teacher told Richard, keep it up. But peace never lasts forever. One rainy afternoon, a letter arrived addressed to Clara. She looked pale as she read it. Richard noticed the change immediately. Is everything all right? He asked. She folded the paper quickly. Yes, sir. Just some old matters I need to sort out. That night, Richard overheard her talking on the phone, quietly, sadly. I know. I'll pay it off somehow, she whispered. But I can't leave the girls. Not now. He didn't ask questions, not yet. But the next morning, when she came to work, her eyes were tired. The twins noticed too. Clara, are you sad? Emma asked. Clara forced a smile. Of course not, sweetheart. Now, who wants pancakes? But children see truth. They hugged her tightly, both of them, as if they knew something was wrong. A few days later, Clara received a call while cleaning the library. Her face turned pale. She quietly packed her things and went to find Richard. He was in his office, signing papers. Mr. Turner, she said softly, I'm afraid I have to resign. He looked up, shocked. What? Why? I can't explain fully, she said, her eyes glistening, but I have debts, old ones from my family. I thought I could manage, but I need to take care of it before it hurts someone. Richard stood, his heart pounding. You can't just leave. The girls, they need you. And I need them, she whispered, but sometimes doing the right thing means walking away. Before he could stop her, she was gone. The girls cried for days, refusing to eat, refusing to smile. The mansion fell silent again, cold and empty. Richard felt helpless. He had all the money in the world, but none of it could bring back the warmth she'd brought into their lives. 1 week later, as he tucked the twins into bed, Emma asked quietly, Daddy, do you think Clara forgot us? Richard swallowed hard. No, sweetheart. People who truly love you never forget. The next morning, something unexpected happened. Richard was on a call when the security intercom buzzed. Sir, there's a woman at the gate. She says you know her. He frowned. Who is it? There was a pause. She says, it's Clara. Richard rushed outside, heart racing. There she was, standing in the rain, soaked but smiling. I'm sorry, she said. I thought I could fix things alone. But then I realized, my real home isn't where I came from. It's here. With them. He didn't hesitate. He stepped forward, pulled her close, and said softly, you have no idea how much we missed you. From that day, everything changed. Clara became more than just a nanny, she became part of their family. The twins never acted out again. They didn't need to. Love had returned to their home, and so had laughter. Months later, as the family gathered in the garden for a picnic, the twins giggled as Richard poured lemonade. Daddy, Ella asked, do you think Clara will stay forever? He looked at Clara, who smiled shyly, and said, I certainly hope so. The camera of life panned out, showing the mansion, once cold and empty, now filled with the sound of joy. And as the narrator's voice would say for your video's ending. Sometimes, the right person doesn't just take care of your children, they heal your soul. If you believe that kindness can change lives, don't forget to subscribe, like, and share this story. Because stories like this remind us, no matter how broken life feels, love always finds a way back home. Hey everyone, if this story touched your heart, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on the bell icon for more emotional and life-changing stories every week. Your support helps us bring more inspiring tales to life. Remember, love, hope, and kindness can turn even the darkest days into light.